Hey, everybody, this is the author Andrew Snorton, and you're joining me for the Fast 15, as we typically do each Wednesday, usually a little bit after 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We take, as best as possible, about 15 minutes to kind of pause, check up, check in, enjoy an encouraging note from any of the books, audio books, provide a little bit of updates, and then close out on a positive day. So I want to thank you for joining me. To stay connected with me, add the author page on Facebook at author Andrew Snorton. Add me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at author A Snorton. And when you add me on Instagram, click on the link in the bio. That takes you to my press and media section. That way you'll have the press and media kit, and you can scroll through all the interviews I've been able to do with some great media outlets literally across the country. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. As we do the first Wednesday of each month, I pull a book from my library to share, like a quote or something from a book that inspired or encouraged me. So even though the second, third, and fourth Wednesday I share my work, I always use the first Wednesday of each month to kind of spotlight other authors who have really made an impact. I also try to make sure just a note of encouragement and a note of motivation, so that anybody out there going through a rough time, as I've said before and said it again, some of us are dealing with things physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, things within our relationships with family, business, community, financial issues, or, just image like you're not all there. And I want to say you have every right to feel some type of way. There's a lot of stuff going on internally and externally that are going to get you angry, upset, discouraged, things along those lines, and you have a right to feel that way to a point, but you have a bigger right to figure out what you need to do to pause and pivot. So as I've said before, and I'll say it again, if anyone out there is dealing with something and it requires professional attention, get it. It's okay. If it requires you to change up the way you move, the people that you're around, maybe where you're living, maybe what you're doing, maybe what you're eating, identify the changes that you need to make, or get help identifying the changes that you need to make that will help you, quote, be a better person, be a better family member, be a better professional, be a better community steward, things along those lines. On the flip side, for those who are doing well, and there's a number of people who are doing some really, really good things, big, small, and everywhere in between, congratulations. Keep going. Feed off the positive energy. Use that to get you prepared for what's next. And let's not forget our colleagues who might not be doing so well. So that's a shout of encouragement to people who are not doing that great, but then a shout of continued motivation. Hey, keep going. And in regards to keep going, the selection I'm going to pull from is from the book Not Dead Yet by Phil Southerland. I want to thank his PR agent at the time, Katrina Younts, for reaching out to me on this one. This was many, many moons ago when I used to write for an online magazine that shut down in the summer of 2016. And he is a cyclist, but there's some good things that he's doing. So to give you a little bit of the backstory, he's basically a world-class level cyclist. And what's really, really empowering is he's living with a health issue. So let me read a little bit of the background. Phil Southerland is the founder of Team Type 1, a team of championship bike racers. He and Team Type 1 have been profiled in numerous cycling and diabetes publications, as well as in the New York Times, Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. He lives in Atlanta, where Team Type 1 is based, and you can connect with him online at www.teamtype1.org. And I was able to cover one of their camps that they did up in Athens, Georgia. And it's so funny, when I actually covered him when he did his book release and book signing. This was back in, I still have the original notes right here from 2011. But I want to read this segment from, is it the introduction? No, the preface. And I'm going to read this. And it's something I think is positive and timely, even with this book being written in 2011. So here it goes. When the idea of this book was first suggested to me, I hesitated. Who am I to write a memoir when I'm still in my 20s? LeBron James? But I realized that with all due respect to LeBron, I have also overcome a lot in my life, been through some harrowing and remarkable adventures, and have plenty to say about it. And I hope that what I have to say, put into words with the help of my writer, John Hank, will not only interest but inspire you, particularly if you're a diabetic, but even if you're someone facing another kind of obstacle or challenge, or if you are someone who is told they can't do or can't be something, which is something I've been hearing all my life too. I'd like to think that perhaps my story will help enable your story to unfold, your dreams and your plans to become reality. Remember, they said I wouldn't even live to be 25, and here I am, not dead yet. And this was back in December 2010 when he did this quote, but there's a couple of really good takeaways. And I've said this before, and especially like in my book, 9 Stories of Faith, Volume 1, all of us are dealing with something. That is a fact. All of us are dealing with something. But here's what really jumped out at me. And I'm going to reread this because he lives with diabetes. And it can be a very serious issue, particularly if you're a diabetic, but even if you're someone facing another kind of obstacle or challenge. Or if you are someone who is told they can't do or can't be something, which is something I've been hearing all my life too. Words have power, and there are some people who misuse that. There are people who will say that you can't do something or you're not able to do something. It's not on an individual level, but a collective level. You're less than. You're inadequate. Think about that when you've heard that. And sometimes when you hear it, you feel like you're the only person that is hearing that. Well, guess what? There are other people that have heard the same type of nonsense. And some people who, in this instance, still doing his work with bicycling, competitive cyclist, helping others with diabetes to professionally cycle or competitively cycle. So if somebody on, quote, that level has heard nonsense and may continue to hear nonsense, but they still figure out a way to figure out, how do I push through just a little bit each day? And just because other people think I'm less than, I don't need to be one of those other people. And that's a message that never goes out of style. Some of you out there may have heard you're less than, you're inadequate, you're not good enough, you're less than human, all that. Don't you be one of those people that buys into that type of nonsense. So if you don't remember anything else, remember, even if you're not all there, and I've said this before, I know I'm not all there, even if you haven't fully arrived, it doesn't make you less than. And just because someone else doesn't speak life into you, don't you be one of those people that doesn't speak life into yourself. So that's kind of the message of the day from Not Dead Yet, by Phil Southerland and John Hank. Make sure to get it. Phil's still in Atlanta. I probably need to reach out to him, and what have you. So a couple quick things as we get ready to wind down. On the interview end, many thanks to Drive at 5 with Roman up in Westchester, Illinois, Greater Chicago on Intellectual Radio. Had a great interview with them last week, so make sure to check it out. Thank you to Sports Life Talk, who dropped the interview the beginning of this week. Love it. It's really eye-opening. Catch that. Today, shouts to Let Us Live magazine. They dropped the interview, and I tell you what, just an amazing work. A couple of upcoming things. This Friday, July 8th, between 9 and 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, make sure to tune into ABC 3340. That's the Birmingham, Alabama affiliate of ABC. I'll be on the show, Talk of Alabama, probably for a quick 5-minute segment, but I'll be speaking about my book on baseball, Nothing Minor, as well as the book signing I am doing July 9th from 1 to 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time at the Negro Southern League Museum. A portion of the on-site sales will go back to the museum to support their outstanding programs, and they'll have copies available, autographed copies available for resale. I want to thank every bookstore, every museum, every library that's taking time, to support me. I want to thank every person, every book festival, speaking engagement, everybody who's taken time to lend support. Shouts to everybody in Central Illinois, Bloomington Normal, Lincoln, Illinois, just some great people out there. And I'll have an announcement coming up next week regarding when I'll be back out that way. And again, just thanking everybody for taking time to pause, check up, check in, enjoy an encouraging note, and try to close out, on a positive manner. We know that sometimes you can't wait to the end of the day or the beginning of the day to get the motivation, encouragement, just, something to help you pause. So I hope with these, whether we record or whether we're live, that it's a way for you to kind of, just kind of pause and check up and check in. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you guys stay encouraged. Look forward to joining you next Wednesday. Again, to stay connected with me on Facebook, add the author page, author Andrew Snorton, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, author A Snorton. Email me at authorsnorton@gmail.com to get on the distribution list, which usually just goes out twice a month. And until next time, whether small or big, a victory is a victory. Whether slow or swift, movement is movement. Remain victorious and keep it moving. So you guys take good care. I'll see you soon.